Riding a 4-match winning streak, including 3 straight come-from-behind 5-set victories, the Ball State Cardinals shift their focus to their in-state rival, next on ESPN3. Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside Worthen Arena for this men's volleyball match between the visiting 4-6 IPFW Mastodons and the 7-3 Ball State Cardinals, who come back home after 6 straight road matches. Both teams representing the Midwest Intercollegiate Volleyball Association Conference very early in the MVBvs standings, but at this point, both teams on opposite ends.
IPFW seeking their first win in the conference after losses to Ohio State and McKendree. Ball State's looking to keep pace with Loyola atop the conference, the defending national champions. Ball State starting a 6-game homestand here tonight, and it culminates the 17th and 18th with matches against Loyola and Lewis. So it's very important for them to get off on the right foot here tonight.
Hello once again, I'm Corey Stace, pleased to be joined by my analyst Connor Onion tonight for this men's volleyball match. And Ball State coming into tonight on a 4-game match winning streak, including the last 3 matches coming from behind in 2 sets, the latest of those comebacks in Columbus, Ohio, against a top 10 team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Well, it was a very gritty performance for Ball State on the road. They had to scratch and claw in set 3 to get a 2-point victory in set 3. They were convincing in set 4, and then they gutted one out in set 5, 18-16. But honestly, Corey, this game was won defensively at the net for Ball State. They held an advantage in blocks over Ohio State, 21-6. Really, really impressive.
And for the Ball State Cardinals, they're transitioning in here tonight in Worthen Arena against the IPFW Mastodons. A lot of history between these two teams. The 96th meeting overall. How important is it for this rivalry game?
Well, if you can't get up for this one, there's something wrong with you. There's so much intertwined between these two schools. There's just an extra twinge of pressure when IPFW and Ball State meet up.
And if IPFW were to come in tonight and beat the Cardinals in Worthen Arena, what's one player we need to watch for IPFW?
Andrew Sellen is a guy I have my eye on, a 2-time All-MVBvs selection. He currently leads the MVBvs with nearly 5 kills per set, and he has one of the strongest right arms in the MVBvs. A cannon for a right arm, as his coach Perrott says, and there's probably nobody more valuable to his team in the conference than Sellen for IPFW. For Ball State, we're taking a look at Mike Scannell. He was the hero against Ohio State. He had the game-winning kill, 13 kills, second on the team. He was also really, really good defensively for Ball State in that game, having 7 digs against the Buckeyes. He doesn't lead Ball State in a single statistical category, but his attacking percentage is excellent at .227 on the season.
The Cardinals need a big night from Mike Scannell for this rivalry match, and earlier our own Alexis Williams had a chance to speak with both Mike Scannell and Ball State's head coach, Joel Walton.
Coach, you're on a 4-game winning streak. How do you make it number 5?
Well, against IPFW, you have to match their intensity. IPFW has always been coached either by Coach Ball or Coach Perrott to go out and compete. And so you have to match that mentality. You can't back down to them. And for sure, you have to match their energy and their effort. So we've got to get after it from the start of the match tonight. We can't let balls fall. We've got to show them that we're as passionate about tonight's match as they are.
Best of luck tonight, Coach. Thanks.
Right, thank you.
W.
It's just really energy, just basing our performance off of energy and just communication. So as long as we keep the energy going, the communication, the defense, I think is really important as well. So a few things that are just really important as we continue on here tonight and for the rest of our season. So
best of luck tonight.
Thanks.
In Worthen Arena tonight for the men's volleyball match, IPFW Mastodons set to serve first, and back first for them is the setter, Michael Keegan. Scannell will get things started with the right-handed tip. And a miscommunication in the back row for IPFW gives the number 14th ranked team in the nation, the Ball State Cardinals, the early 1-0 lead.
That's a huge key for IPFW tonight to limit the unforced errors. Ball State is a team that likes to keep the ball in play and force their opponent to make mistakes. That's what happens here on the first point.
Sellen's first swing of the night blocked at the net by Alex Pia and Iago Garchette. Garchette, a setter for the Ball State Cardinals, very good defensively, and that's really his MO.
Well, it was a greatly timed leap at the net by both Pia and Garchette. They come up with a block. Ball Stayed up 2-0.
Parker Schwartz back to serve for the Cardinals. Leads ties the team and aces, and up through the middle is Kyle Fitzgerald for the first IPFW point. Back to serve now is Tony Price, the outside hitter, out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Demchevsky on the right side, his first swing of the night. Scannell hammers one home up against the two blockers for the IPFW Mastodons.
Well, you saw Keegan with a sloppy pass for IPFW, and that led basically to a free ball for Ball State, and they respond perfectly, and it leads to a kill for Mike Scannell.
It's the right side of Andrew Sellen, who tried to come up and block it for the IPFW Mastodons. Garchette back to serve for Ball State. And a blocking error for the Ball State Cardinals. Scannell reached too far over on the IPFW side.
We're seeing Ball State be very active at the net with their blocking here early on, and that was the key to their win against Ohio State, in which they had the advantage 21-6 over the Buckeyes.
We talked about in the open, Scannell not only known for his hitting, 13 kills against Ohio State, but also a good defensive player. That time an error though. Back row attack from Mitch Wheeler, and he stepped on the line, and it's going to be an IPFW point.
Well, you love to see Ball State attacking from the back line. If they can do that offensively throughout the night, it's just another layer that IPFW defense has to look out for. We know the prowess of the Ball State frontline attack.
Kyle Fitzgerald getting the start tonight for IPFW. He's only played 9 sets this season. Scannell on the right side goes cross court.
Well, that was beautiful finesse that time from Scannell. We know he has the power when he rises to the net for the kill, but that time he has great court location, and he finds an open spot in the back line of IPFW.
4-3, the Cardinals out to the early 1-point lead in this opening set. McNerney on the left side, a solo block for Martin Demchevsky for the Ball State Cardinals, the only Cardinal there, but able to get a hand on it.
Well, Demchevsky mostly known for his offensive game, but he comes up defensively here with a perfectly timed block for Ball State.
Demchevsky led the team last season in kills per set. This season, the leader is Brendan Serrain, who is not in the starting lineup tonight. He is active as the Cardinals get another block at the net, this time mostly Alex Pia, the middle blocker.
You mentioned Brendan Serrain. He only played 1 set against Ohio State, kind of head-scratching from Serrain, but likely to see him here later on tonight as this match progresses.
Serena, more of a middle blocker last season. This season listed as an outside attacker as Scannell with the service error to the left side.
That's rare from Scannell. He's usually pretty accurate in getting his serves in, but it gives the service back to IPFW.
Sellen with the biggest serve in this match, back to serve for IPFW, and this one is way long as he tried to put a little too much mustard on that one.
Well, it's not what you expect from Andrew Sellen, your best all-around player if you're IPFW in every statistical category. He's right there amongst the leaders for IPFW, and that's just an uncharacteristic error from the best player for IPFW.
A little bit of the early jitters for Sellen, getting his first opportunity to serve and sending it that long. Up through the middle is David Frazee, the senior middle blocker.
Coach Perrott talked about how athletic Frazee is, the second best athlete to Sellen on the floor for IPFW. Very quick in getting off the floor. You can tell that he does his plyo exercises and does his box jumps in the offseason.
And the best blocker on this team, that time providing the offensive game. Wheeler on the left side, cross court, and unable to dig it out in the back row is Bertrand, the libero for IPFW.
Well, it's tough to get it past Bertrand, but look at the passing from Ball State. A beautiful setup from Garchette, tight to the net, and then Wheeler does the rest from there and hammers it down.
Martin Demchevsky, a power serve. A block at the net, but it travels out of bounds on the attack from Tony Price on the left side for the Mastodons point.
Tony Price coming off an excellent performance in a loss to McKendree in 5 sets for IPFW. Second on the team with 14 kills. He picks up one here off of the block from Ball State.
David Frazee back to serve for IPFW. Matt Walsh's first attack through the middle for the Cardinals. The sophomore was a freshman All-American last season for the nation. and shows you why. It's really because of his big size, standing at 6'11". Not in the starting lineup tonight, though, as Alex Pia and also Parker Schwartz got the start for the Cardinals at that middle blocker position.
And him being an All-American had a lot to do with his defensive prowess as the third leading blocker in the entire country. His offensive game still has, he still has some progress to make in his offensive game, but at 6'11" in the middle of that Ball State attack, he's very, very dangerous.
The Cardinals continue to hold that 1 to 2 point cushion through this opening set, even with the Fitzgerald kill from the middle. Great dig in the back row from the freshman Wessel. Selin, another attack on the right side, blocked. Walsh had to adjust for that Garchette set. A great rally, the best of the night so far, and IPFW gets the point as Garchette was unable to chase it down on their side.
Well, great resiliency that time from IPFW. Ball State was doing a great job of rotating their blockers laterally on that set, but IPFW hangs with it as Ball State looking to just keep it in play, and then IPFW able to finish off the point.
Michael Keegan, the man that started this match, back to serve once again for the Mastodons. Walsh through the two blockers at the net for the Mastodons, and the Cardinals keep that 2 point cushion here in the opening set.
Well, just too much leverage for Walsh at the net for Ball State. He has Price and Fitzgerald trying to block him at 6'6" and 6'4" respectively, and just too much size for Ball State with Walsh at 6'11".
Selin, every attack almost tonight has been blocked at the net by two Cardinals. Back on the attack. Nimchevsky was blocked at the net. Selin got him back for blocking his shot.
Well, the set a little wide that time for Ball State, and that forced Nimchevsky out toward the block, and he didn't really have a good angle to loft it over the blockers for IPFW.
Tony Price back to serve, has double-digit kills in the last 3 games, had 14 in their last match against McKendree. This time Martin Nimchevsky had to work his way to get out of the way of that serve to let it go out of bounds.
Yeah, Price has struggled from the service line over the past 2 games, 7 errors per match. So his struggles continue from back there.
25 on the season. He has played in 37 sets this season for the Mastodons in their 10 matches. Through the middle is Fitzgerald. Aimed for Adam Wessel, the freshman libero for the Cardinals. IPFW continues to keep in this match. Although Ball State's maintained that 1 to 2 point cushion, it seems like IPFW continues to respond, but some unforced errors have gotten the best of them. Nimchevsky's attack is blocked alone by Andrew Selin on the right side. Not only is he doing it offensively, but gets it done defensively.
Oh yeah, you have the 2 best athletes for IPFW at the net there with Frazee and Selin. It's going to be tough to slide it past those 2 this evening.
The 6'6" freshman Fitzgerald. Bad pass from the back row for the Cardinals, and Garchette into the net, and IPFW takes the 12-11 lead. Fitzgerald to serve. Mitch Wheeler from the back row for the Cardinals. Selin, another attack blocked at the net, hasn't gotten one through the Ball State defense. This time, Nimchevsky just pushes it down the line, and it gets out of the outstretched arms of the setter for IPFW, Michael Keegan.
Well, very intelligent that time from Nimchevsky. He was suspended in the air, and he had the blockers up into the air, and then he just pushes it past him as he was on his way down from being suspended in the air.
Mike Scannell back to serve for the Cardinals. Last time had a service error. This one is good. Up through the middle is Tony Price from the back row, the native for IPFW.
Well, he's struggled with consistency at times this season, and Coach Perrott wants him to have more range, but he's been rangy here tonight and very, very consistent. He's made an impact. He's a big reason why IPFW has the 1 point lead.
Selin into the net. 2 service errors for him on both of his service opportunities tonight. That's one thing you'll get from Selin, is service errors to go along with that big serve.
Yeah, he has so much confidence, and he's so powerful that sometimes he lets that power get the best of him, and he sacrifices accuracy, and we've seen that twice here tonight.
Alex Pia back to serve for Ball State. Frazee sends one long. He thought it was tipped at the net by Walsh, but the official rules out otherwise. 14-13. The Ball State Cardinals looking to take a 2-point lead going into the media timeout. Alex Pia, someone that didn't play a lot last season at that middle blocker position, but this year has played in every single set as David Frazee just pushes it into the 2 blockers at the net for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Frazee's been a really good story for IPFW this year. He only played in 16 sets last year, but this year he's emerged. He's played in 37 of the 37 sets for IPFW and is 3rd in the MVBA in blocks per set.
Scott McNerney's serve just crawls across to the Ball State side, and that makes it 15-14. IPFW lead in this opening set. More men's volleyball action when we come back between the Ball State Cardinals and the IPFW Mastodons next on ESPN3.
I don't know if I can hear them. Are they talking to you? We going to you? No.
We're talking about
who?
starting with IPFW's coach and then going to Ball State.
Okay.
Taking a look at Ryan Perrott, the first-year head coach for the IPFW Mastodons, following up who was really a legend, Arnie Ball. A tough road ahead of him to match what Arnie Ball did at IPFW, but we've talked to him throughout the week. Seems like a confident guy and really embraces the role of stepping into those shoes. On the opposite end for the Ball State Cardinals, Joel Walton, a model of consistency in his 18th year as the Cardinals head coach.
Both of these coaches very, very loyal to both of their schools, both being alums of their respective schools. So you know that they have their whole heart and they're very passionate when it comes to their teams.
Walsh, a kill in the middle. And Arnie Ball, the legendary head coach for IPFW, was a graduate of Ball State University. So that just added to the Interstate 69 battle between these two teams. Now Ryan Perrott, he's been through this rivalry, though, because he played at IPFW and really got the best of the Cardinals in his playing career.
Right. I don't want to say it diminishes the rivalry between these two teams without Arnie Ball on the sidelines for IPFW, but Coach Walton admittedly said it is different without having him on the sidelines for the Mastodons.
Andrew Selin gets in on the action for the first time tonight. You see just the cannon that he has. Coach Ryan Perrott said that really, he thinks he has the best arm in the MVBA conference. Wheeler on the left side for Ball State. Change of pace shot, and it drops down.
Oh, beautiful loft from Wheeler that time. Ball State was fortunate early on that point. There's some miscommunication defensively for them, but Wheeler, through 3 blockers, able to just loft it over the top.
Wheeler trots back to serve. An interesting story was actually the backup libero last season to David Ryan Vandermeer. He stands at 6'4", but he had to replace that role because Jose Irizarry, a freshman, got injured, and Wheeler spent some time at libero when David Ryan Vandermeer went out, but this season has transitioned back to his original role as an outside attacker.
Right, at 6'4", that's not your typical height for a libero, but he filled that role nicely last year for the Cardinals.
Michael Keegan back to serve for IPFW. A quick hit over from Iago Garchette. Nice change of pace. a transition opportunity, as Ryan Perrott was talking about. IPFW needed to limit those for Ball State, but you see Garchette get one there.
Right, and this is very, very clever from Garchette. We've been seeing him set up his teammates time and time again here throughout the first set, and IPFW back on their heels that time as he slammed it home.
Matt Walsh, the service error into the net, an area of his game that he continues to work on. Has that big serve at times with 8 aces through the year, but also struggles with service errors, kind of like a guy like Andrew Sellen for the IPFW that we've already seen 2 service errors from. Another service error, back-to-back. IPFW gives Ball State the point.
Both of these teams exchanging errors, and especially for IPFW, you want to limit those errors, but Ball State, with their depth, can afford to allow some errors here and there, but IPFW especially cannot. Not as deep, more youthful, less experienced than Ball State.
Brendan Serrain checks in for the first time for the Ball State Cardinals, with Scannell, Alex Pia, and Serrain at the net, and Garchette back to serve. Great set by Keegan into the back row for Tony Price to get a swing at it.
Oh, you said it, a great set for Keegan, and he has a lot coming at him as a freshman setter. He's kind of the quarterback of that attack for IPFW, and he sets up Sellen really, really nicely, rather Price really, really nicely here on that point.
And he stepped over the line, so they give Ball State the point, and they take a 19-18 lead. Keegan has to adjust for the set. Serrain's first attack of the night leads this Cardinals team in kills per set. Scott McNerney's attack blocked. Sellen has to go change of pace. Nice dig by the libero Wessel. And Scannell finishes it off into the hands of the 2 blockers for IPFW at the net.
Brendan Serrain, very valuable off the bench there on that point. He had 2 attacks that nearly went down. He also had a nice block at the net for Ball State, so he gives them an instant impact off the bench.
And a timeout taken by Ryan Perrott, the first-year head coach for IPFW. 20-18. The Cardinals lead by 2, and we'll send it to our sideline reporter for the first time tonight, Alexis Williams.
You know, you saw Coach Wallen put Brendan Serrain in, and he discussed over and over again about how much of a depth his team is, and he says throughout the night he's going to continue to rotate his players because he believes everyone can come off the bench and contribute at every point.
Well, it's really interesting, Corey, is he's their statistical leader in kills and attack, or up there in attack percentage. It really goes to show you just how deep this Ball State team is, due to the fact that he had 3 attacking errors in the first set against Ohio State, and then we did not see him for the rest of that match. So there are guys behind guys like Brendan Serrain, who you consider one of your best players, that can come in and make an impact, and they did against Ohio State in that comeback win in 5 sets.
He did have 2 kills, but as you said, 3 errors, had a negative hitting percentage of .111.
That's really uncharacteristic for Brendan Serrain, the junior outside attacker.
And the IPFW Mastodons, the Ball State Cardinals, the Interstate 69 battle, as it's become to be known as, the 96th meeting all night, all time. And Ball State leads that series quite a bit in the area of Muncie, Indiana, and here in Worthen Arena, a tough place to play for the Mastodons.
It was really interesting to hear Coach Perrott yesterday talk about the trends in this series. In the 80s, he said flat out Ball State would drum IPFW, and then in the 90s, it was a golden era for IPFW where they would dominate Ball State, and then it's been back and forth since then.
Sellen, a powerful right hand. Only a 1-point lead for Ball State now. Not only is the men's volleyball team in this rivalry between IPFW and Ball State, but also the women's volleyball teams for both schools have played in the last 15 consecutive seasons. So really a good tradition to keep going for both college athletics programs. Gabriel Quinos back in for the first time for the IPFW Mastodons to serve. Sellen on the right side gets it through the hands of Alex Pia and Brendan Serrain.
Well, that's where you see the power from Sellen. Mentioned that he needs to have a little bit more finesse, but when you're that powerful, sometimes it doesn't matter. He just hammered it straight through the 2 blockers for Ball State.
Quinones back to serve now again for IPFW with the match in opening set, all tied at 20. Quinones had 21 assists last match in his original position as a setter, but really it was the first time in his career that he had played that setter role for IPFW as Serene on the left side for the Cardinals.
Against IPFW last year, Serene made an impact as well. 8 kills, a .389 attacking percentage, so he loves to see the guys in blue. He always performs very, very well against the Mastodons.
Sellen and Frazee were there, but he went to the right side and hit Frazee on the right shoulder. Scannell back to serve for the Ball State Cardinals. Bad pass, and Mitch Wheeler finishes it at the net for the Cardinals.
Well, it's one thing to allow a free ball if you're IPFW to Ball State, especially if it's right at the net. That's likely the result every single time if IPFW continues that trend.
Another timeout taken by IPFW. Ryan Perrott, the first-year head coach, takes this one as the Cardinals lead by 2, 22-20. The Cardinals have won 3 straight matches coming from behind in an 0-2 deficit. Not looking to do the same thing here. They've only won 2 first sets all year, and those were against New Jersey Institute of Technology and an earlier opponent in the second match of the season. So really, Ball State struggles in sets number 1, but Coach Walton and the players this week in practice talked about how that needs to change, and they need to have faster starts.
Right, no, and I guess really they just like to make it interesting down the stretch of matches, but to get a fast start, especially when you're playing here at home, is crucial, because you don't want to allow a team like IPFW to get some confidence when they come in here as underdogs at 4-6. A very young team, you don't want to allow them to get some confidence here early on in set 1.
And we talked about Ryan Perrott following up a coaching legend in Arnie Ball, but we haven't talked about Joel Walton. He followed up a coaching legend as well. He replaced Don Shondell as technically the 3rd head coach in Ball State history. There was 1 year where Don Shondell did not coach. Marvin Gray was the head coach for those years, but really Joel Walton and Don Shondell have taken this Ball State program, and now Arnie Ball and Ryan Perrott. 2 programs historic, and only with 2 head coaches really at the helm.
Well, he really appreciates the family feel around this Ball State program, because if you ask him, he considers himself to be the 2nd head coach in Ball State history. So over the 50-plus year history of Ball State, only 2 head coaches. That creates great consistency in one of the best programs in college volleyball.
Frazee's kill cuts the lead to 1, and Sellen, the best server most likely in this match, back to serve for IPFW. A free ball back over to the Cardinals. Wheeler goes to the right side, aimed at the libero, Bertrand, and he gets it through.
For Bertrand, that's usually one that he digs out of there. He leads the team with 101 digs, but too much power that time from Mitch Wheeler.
2 points away from taking set number 1, something Ball State has only accomplished twice this season through 10 matches. Bertrand has to bump it over to the left side. Keegan, this time a back set to Sellen, and it goes through the 2 blockers at the net, Wheeler and Matt Walsh.
Well, that's just perseverance that time from IPFW, struggling with the joust at the net with Matt Walsh in his 6'11 frame, getting in there on 2 separate blocks on that point, but then the 3rd time is the charm with Sellen on the outside.
Often you'll see Ball State try to combat Andrew Sellen with 2 blockers at the net. Garchette has to send a free ball over to IPFW. Serene's attack travels out of bounds after 2 blockers were there for IPFW. Set point as the Worthen Arena fans come alive and stand. Here as the Cardinals have 2 set points in this opening set. Sellen on the right side, too hard for Brendan Serene to handle in the back row for the Cardinals.
Well, we've seen Sellen struggle with his accuracy here in set 1. Not that time, a great cross-court kill. Power and finesse that time from IPFW's Sellen.
Joel Walton will now take the timeout for the Cardinals. Andrew Sellen, someone that only got 2nd team All-MIVA last year, and maybe that just speaks to the amount of talent that the MIVA conference has, because Andrew Sellon is a tremendous talent, as we've seen tonight, has one of the best cannons, according to his coach in Ryan Perrott, the best cannon in the MVBA conference. But then you have guys like Thomas Jaski, the National Player of the Year, playing for Loyola, Lewis. Both of those teams competed in the national championship. Just a lot of players that are very quality.
Well, you and I have talked about the prestige of the MVBA time and time again, and 3 of the last 5 national champions coming from the conference. And obviously, when you have teams that are that great, you're going to have excellent players across the board. And you mentioned the depth of Loyola, the depth of Ball State. So sometimes a talent like Andrew Sellon can be hidden a little bit, and especially when his team had a mediocre year last year, finishing 8-8 in the conference, good enough for 4th.
And Andrew Sellon ranks 3rd in the nation in kills per set to this point in the season, with just over 4.5. And likely the result of one of the IPFW Mastodons going down early in the season with a shoulder injury. That's Alex Hartdeiler. He was their second leading killer last year, only a freshman on the team, but Andrew Sellon has really had to take that go-to guy role for the Mastodons.
It's been him and David Frazee, and then they've waited for their youth behind those 2 guys to sort of emerge. And even with Frazee, this is really his first year of significant action, so they're inexperienced even with their seniors.
Wheeler puts it down the line, and it hits the back line to give the Cardinals set number 1 here in Worthen Arena. The Cardinals, the first 2 times this season that they've won set number 1, it has been in 3-set sweeps. We'll see if the Cardinals can produce that here in Worthen Arena tonight. We will have set number 2 action for you when we come back on ESPN3.
Good work. You're doing good. You're doing a good job. You're letting it breathe.
Yeah, that's one thing I've realized watching a ton of volleyball is that they let it breathe.
Have you watched the Olympics?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was watching the Olympics today, and they must have. I mean, the atmosphere is obviously a lot different.
Yeah, true.
But they went like 3 or 4 points without saying anything.
Really.
It almost felt like a golf broadcast.
When I was watching like the national championship and stuff, they would normally say it every kill, but they'd
usually just say the name.
Just in game, yeah. Unless there's like a good gig or something.
Yeah, I mean, American announcers are a lot different.
You start to feel awkward too. You start to feel like you're like,
if you're not talking.
Yeah, I know. But then I think
but like American announcers have a different style than foreign.
Set number 1 was taken by the Ball State Cardinals 25-23. The Cardinals held the lead in that set for most of the time here in Worthen Arena. It gave something for the Worthen Arena faithful to cheer about. And really, that set was produced a lot by Mitch Wheeler, who you see there, and also Andrew Sellon, not as effective as maybe we expected coming in tonight offensively for IPFW.
No, he wasn't. If you told me that Andrew Sellon had 2 service errors after 1 set, I'd tell you that the score would be exactly what it was, with Ball State taking set 1. But also Brendan Serrain off the bench for Ball State. It would have been easy for him to feel sorry for himself after only playing 1 set against Ohio State, but he showed some mental resolve there in that first set to make an impact for Ball State after only playing in that 1 set against Ohio State.
The Cardinals are led by Mitch Wheeler, who has 5 kills and a hitting percentage of .444. Only 1 error to his credit. Also, Mike Scannell had a hitting percentage of .500 with 3 kills on 6 attacks. But as we said, Andrew Sellon got it done in the offensive department, but as we've talked about, had those service errors and also had 2 attacking errors, and it seemed like 2 blockers were at the net every single time he attacked.
Right.
One thing that the Cardinals did last season against Andrew Sellon, they held him up to a 44 hitting percentage, a .044 hitting percentage in that game, and really forced Alex Hartdeiler, their second option, to beat them, which he ended up doing in 5 sets. But the Cardinals maybe have something figured out on Andrew Sellon.
It's almost like like what the Denver Broncos did to Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. It's like they're putting a spy on the quarterback with Andrew Selland being the quarterback, and they're sending blockers his way left and right and not allowing him really an inch at the net. So everything that he's gotten here tonight, despite the fact that he has 6 kills, it's been very difficult for him to break free for IPFW.
And for the Cardinals, they like to go a more balanced attack. No one player yet tonight. Mitch Wheeler has 9 attacks, but no one player has double-digit attacks. For the IPFW Mastodons, on the other hand, they like to go to Selland a lot. He has 14 attacks through set number 1. The Ball State Cardinals will look to start off set number 2 right with Parker Schwartz, the freshman, back to serve. A bad pass by IPFW, and Alex Pia sends it home in the middle.
Well, there's a reason that Schwartz leads Ball State in aces this season with 8. Not an ace here, but still a very tough serve to return. He gets it straight over the top of the net, and then it dips down. Very effective serve for Schwartz.
Another bad pass in the back row. Bertrand, this time the libero, the historic and largely considered one of the best liberos in the conference as well, struggling to handle Parker Schwartz's serve. Schwartz shrugs his shoulders as Ryan Perrott takes the timeout. 2-0 in set number 2. That will serve as the media timeout. The Ball State Cardinals jumping out early to a set number 2 2-point lead. When we come back, we will have more men's volleyball action. The IPFW Mastodons and the Ball State Cardinals next on ESPN3.
I'm going to talk about Bertrand on this replay.
Back in set number 2, 3-0 now. Parker Schwartz gets another as the bench celebration behind him. 3 straight serves for Schwartz and 3 straight points for the Cardinals to start things off in set number 2 after winning set number 1, 25-23. Selland on the left side, his first crack at it in set number 2. Scannell answers, and Bertrand can't handle it in the back row. It looks like the Cardinals at times have been targeting the libero Bertrand.
No, they definitely have, and it's really uncharacteristic to see him with attack errors in the back line for IPFW because he is so effective defensively, but they've gone right at him, and he's been unable to respond to the challenge so far for IPFW.
And that was the first 2 points of this set. Bertrand was targeted then as well. A service error by Parker Schwartz after 4 straight points for the Cardinals. I would believe they'll take 4 straight points as long as you get those and then create the service error instead of creating it first. Back to service, Tony Price for IPFW. A joust at the net, and IPFW receives another possession. Pia had to adjust, and it didn't even look like it hit an IPFW blocker, although Pia got another hit at it. It may have resulted, it actually did hit right there, as you see on the camera, Kyle Fitzgerald, the middle blocker, but then Pia couldn't put it over after that.
As momentum just carried him into the net, and he had a tough time recovering after the block from IPFW.
Scannell into 2 blockers, Selland and Fitzgerald for IPFW. Cardinals maintain the 3-point lead early in set number 2. Once again, winning set number 1, 25-23. Iago Garchette back to serve. Was the starting setter last season after transferring to Ball State. Scannell has to adjust, and it's a double hit as he had to adjust too late and tried to set the ball over.
Well, a sloppy point there for both teams. IPFW allows the free ball, and then it should have allowed Ball State to set up their offensive attack, but then poor passing among the back line for Ball State.
Kyle Fitzgerald once again got the start tonight after only playing 9 sets coming into tonight, but has played in both sets to start off. Sellen's attack is too wide left, and the Cardinals take the 3-point lead back.
Well, he continues to be frustrated. He saw Pia there, who's had a dominant performance here to start set 2 after killing home the first 2 points for Ball State. He intimidates Sellen a little bit at the net on that point.
Sellen this time gets it into the back row, and miscommunication between both Scannell and Garchette.
Well, you can see the rise from Sellen. Again, so athletic, and that gives him great trajectory and a great angle to slam that one home over the blockers of Ball State.
Looks like Scannell may have been upset with Garchette on that one. He may have had the dig, but Garchette put the left arm out to hit it. So Rain has to adjust midair. That attack hit the antenna on the left side. Scott McNerney with the attacking error. The official took a second to realize it, but then Ball State awarded the point.
You can see IPFW trying to be a little bit more diverse and going with that back row attack. But Ball State defensively hangs in there as they force the attack wide.
Alex Pia has played in every set this season for the Cardinals back to serve. Only saw 4 attacks, which was unusual against Ohio State in that 5-set comeback. This time Sellen goes between the 2 blockers of Ohio State.
Well, they haven't allowed him to be easy, but it's Jekyll and Hyde tonight for Andrew Sellen with the errors that he committed in the first set, much like it was last year against Ball State. He had 15 kills, but it also resulted in 13 errors for Sellen.
Three blockers there for Ball State on that Sellen attack. And this time a change of pace from Tony Price to drop it down in the middle.
Well, that was a great point for Michael Keegan, the setter for IPFW. First, they tried to go to Sellen on the right side, then he gets it back in the middle after Ball State returns it and reverses it to the left, and Ball State was caught late in rotating their blockers.
Wessel has to bump one to Scannell, and Scannell sends it too long as IPFW has crawled back into set number 2 and tie it at 7.
A little bit of an awkward approach that time from Scannell. He had his shoulders parallel to the sideline, and that's tough to get enough torque on the ball to get it that downward trajectory into the backcourt for IPFW.
Serain had to adjust, but still sends it into the hands of Tony Price for the Ball State point, and they take the lead right back.
Well, you can see a smile on the face of Brendan Serain. He's feeling it tonight, and now he gets an opportunity at the service line.
Serain's service into the net.
Well, I jinxed him.
Struggles with service errors. That's his 30th on the year, but also is one of the best servers for this Cardinals team. It's always a give and take when you have a powerful server like either Andrew Sellen for IPFW or Brendan Serain for the Cardinals. Walsh sends it into the chest of David Frazee, who was in the back row, a middle blocker not used to handling the heat that he was given there in the back.
Yeah, Frazee got caught a little bit out of position that time after the service. He crept toward the net a little bit too far, should have been defending that back line, and he takes it right in the chest.
They go right at Wessel, the libero for Ball State, and he can't dig it up for the IPFW points.
Well, Tony Price is kind of that second guy that Ball State has to be concerned about. You got to be concerned about Andrew Sellen first, which they have been, but if you let Tony Price get going, he's their emotional leader. He's a big-time grinder, according to head coach Mike Perrott, and he kind of leads the emotional charge for IPFW.
Another attack for Serene. This one, a line drive beyond the back line. IPFW takes their first lead with a 1-point advantage, 10-9 here in set number 2. Michael Keegan, the freshman setter, replacing Omar Rivera from last season. And Keegan sends this one too long to give Ball State the point back. Keegan, the freshman setter, and many organizations and programs within men's volleyball like to replace their senior setters with these freshmen and develop them through 4 years of experience, and that's what IPFW's plan is with Michael Keegan at that setter position in his freshman year.
Yeah, with such a young team and a transition period with a first-year head coach, that's something Coach Perrott has really stressed, that it is such a process. Despite all these guys being so competitive and being result-oriented, you have to understand that it's going to take some time to build back up this IPFW program after the departure of their head coach, Artie Ball.
Matt Walsh service, this time clean. Sellen's attack did hit the antenna on the left side. Looked like the official, the head judge, was giving it to IPFW, and the line judge ruled otherwise.
Well, he's very frustrated. After that point, Michael Keegan went to him and said, settle down, you'll be all right. He knows what a good player his teammate is. He's getting frustrated here from Ball State's defense.
Tony Price sends it right through, and it pinballs off of Alex Pia and Mike Scannell, the two blockers at the net for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he started to emerge here in the second set, and that's due to the attention placed on Sellen for IPFW. He's kind of been in the shadows for IPFW, and he's a big reason that they're within a point of Ball State.
Tony Price, 7 aces on the year, back to serve for IPFW. Sellen's attack, 3 blockers at the net. Garchette, Scannell, and Pia send that one back.
Well, they're just smothering Sellen right now, and this is something Coach Perrott says they need more of, and that is more depth behind Sellen. He can't be their only offensive target, or else Ball State can afford to do what they just did there and send 3 blockers at him. They need somebody on the weak side to be able to produce and send kills home.
Keegan into the back row to Price, and 2 blockers there for Ball State. Ball State rattling off points now here in the midway through this second set.
Big time block that time from Alex Pia. Really excited after it too, getting Ball State charged up emotionally. He's their best blocker, leads them with 39 blocks in the season coming in.
And that's why he's been playing in every set this season. Inconsistent playing time last year, but this year has taken on a much bigger role with some departures from seniors on last year's squad. Fitzgerald pushes it too far to the left for another Ball State point to give them a 4-point lead midway through the second set. Looked like it went off the left side of his hand. Garchette back to serve again. And a reach over the net by Alex Pia as he was trying to get a hand on it, but reached too far over onto IPFW's side. An unforced error, a violation to give IPFW their first point in a while.
Yeah, he just got a little overzealous there after coming up with some monstrous blocks at the net for Ball State. He just gets a little nosy there.
Fitzgerald, the freshman, back to serve. Serene sends one down the line. Michael Keegan looked confused in the back row for the Mastodons defense.
Excellent attack here from Serene, 4th in the MVBA in kills. And he gets that at the height of his jump, and then great power to finish it home.
Sellen's attack blocked at the net, but travels out of bounds for the Sellen kill. IPFW, even amongst his struggles at times in this match early, but they've continued to go to him. And Coach Ryan Perrott talked to us last night about how he needs to just embrace the go-to guy role, especially with Alex Harthiler, their second option, out with injury. Sellen is their guy, and he says at times Sellen gets down on himself, and really he just needs to embrace it and still continue to be consistent at that main attacker.
Well, he doesn't really have much of a choice. There's not many options behind him for IPFW to go to as far as attacking, and it's easy to be frustrated if you're Sellen. It's almost like a power forward of basketball that gets double teamed in the post every single time. It is forced to be just a passer instead of a scorer because of the defensive attention that he draws for the Mastodons.
Sellen is heating up for IPFW, cuts the Cardinals' lead to 1 in a timeout taken by Joel Walton. 16-15 midway through the second set. And Coach Joel Walton for the Ball State Cardinals is mic'd up for this contest. And here's what he's had to say through the first 2 sets here in Worthen Arena.
Wessel in, or do you want to bring Eddie in because Wessel's not digging that ball in the left back, or did Wessel finish better?
Well, I don't know. They didn't hit that ball again.
Okay. We'll go one more game.
Hey guys, he's just spinning it. Move our feet and talk. Move our feet and talk. Let's go. Get to the post part.
And Brendan, that's on me. Hey, I've got to give you a little more notice. What I didn't expect for you to have on were your pants, so.
Interesting conversation for Joel Walton.
Likes to keep it loose.
Definitely likes to keep it loose. Also, you heard him mention Adam Wessel, the freshman libero. He was targeted for the IPFW offense. They've continued to go to him as the Ball State Cardinals offensively have gone to Luis Bertrand. Both offensively going to the libero. Luis Bertrand has a lot more experience for IPFW though. Coming into tonight, 23 digs shy of the all-time leader in IPFW history, and with the matches they have left, likely will end in that position. But for the Cardinals, a little bit different situation. Wessel is still in defensively, but we'll see if IPFW continues to attack him. And you heard Joe Walton say one more game to see if Adam Wessel can continue to work things out in the back row as Sellen commits the unforced error to give Ball State the 2-point lead.
Right, for Wessel, it's been sort of an adjustment for him. Throughout his volleyball career, he's played a lot of different positions. He was a hitter back in his grade school days, and then in middle school got moved to a setter. It wasn't until high school that he started playing libero, so he's adjusting not only to the college game, but also relatively inexperienced as far as someone concerned in their volleyball career after playing the same position for 10, 15 years.
Outside attack by McNerney. It went to the left side of the antenna. And speaking of Adam Wessel, he was voted a Volleyball Magazine High School All-American last season. The Cardinals were busy on the recruiting trail because they have 2.
Yep.
Parker Schwartz also, number 9, we've seen him at times tonight, also an All-American coming from high school last season. Sellen on the right side into the 2 blockers at the net for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and you brought up Wessel, and the recruiting trail for Ball State, as Wessel's from Brookfield East High School. He's the 2014 Wisconsin Player of the Year, the 2015 Wisconsin Player of the Year, also from Brookfield East. Matt Suze, he's coming to Ball State next year as well.
Wheeler on the left side, blocked at the net, but travels all the way to the right side and out of bounds. 3-point lead for Ball State. Also, we could see, speaking of high schools, you could see some cross action. Graydon Schrader for IPFW, a middle blocker, also a freshman, played with Adam Wessel at Brookfield East High School. Nimchevsky back in and to serve for Ball State. Sellen's attack hits the net and pops too far up to go beyond the back line for the Cardinals' point.
Yeah, you mentioned Graydon Schrader. Perhaps we could see him here tonight, but the reason we haven't seen him so far is likely because his defense is something that Coach Perrott said he wants him to shore up, and with its lethal Ball State offensive attack, this not really a game or a match that really favors his skill set.
Has played in 30 sets this season. A timeout taken by Ryan Perrott. For the Ball State Cardinals, some good things going on at Ball State University. Ball State Sports Links out of the shadows an exclusive all-access look at the men's basketball team for the Ball State Cardinals. Produced by Ball State Sports Link, episode 3 of season 3 is available now. Watch some great stories on that one. Trey Moses, a center for the Ball State Cardinals, working with special needs. Great story produced by Connor Nichols and Tim Rushi, 2 of our classmates. And also Ryan Weber, a story that you can catch on there. And the Cardinals are playing well.
They are
so
playing
why
well.
not check it out?
They're playing well, and it's a well-produced show by Dylan Welch and Matt Organ, the executive producers. And Ball State will travel up to Mount Pleasant on Saturday afternoon, looking to take sole control of first place in the MAC West Division in men's basketball. Exciting times right now inside Worthen Arena.
Exactly, something that Ball State men's basketball program hasn't seen in quite a bit.
You got a women's basketball program competing for the top spot in the Mid-American Conference right now. The men's the same, and then you got a ranked volleyball team.
Exactly, and the volleyball team looking to close out set number 2. Nemchevsky on the right side, blocked this time at the net by Tony Price for IPFW. 3-point lead still for the Ball State Cardinals, but Nemchevsky, haven't seen him much in this second set.
The numbers don't say that Tony Price is the best blocker for this IPFW team. He's second in the team in blocks with 27, as David Frazee is their leader in blocks, but Coach Perrott feels he is their best at the net, and a lot of times teams will go away from him because of that presence as a blocker.
Quinones back to serve for IPFW. This time Wheeler on the left side.
Well, Wheeler's been quiet here in set 2 after a very loud set 1 in which he had 5 kills on 9 attacks.
Wheeler also has double-digit attacks now through set number 2, which makes it 10 of 11 matches this season with those double-digit attacks. And last season, we talked about it, he was a backup libero. Didn't really even attack the ball, but this season has embraced that role of an outside hitter, as IPFW able to sneak one over the 6'11 blocker at the net, Matt Walsh.
Tony Price, excellent vision, an unorthodox hit as he sets it over the net in what looked to be a free ball for Ball State, but it plopped right in the middle of their 6 defenders, and Wessel was unable to dig it out.
Keegan back to serve. Price sent it to the very back corner, and Wessel and Wheeler both thought it was traveling out of bounds for Ball State. Tony Price, 2 consecutive attacks for IPFW and cuts the Cardinals' lead to 2. Keegan back to serve, the freshman setter. Garchette, quick hit over, not effective. Another one, and this time goes some finesse behind the back, no look. And you see why Garchette has a 600 hitting percentage, because he's so smart with his opportunities that he takes.
Well, it's a chess match at the net right now with Garchette. He hasn't gone to that quick tip here in set 2 yet. He got IPFW once in set 1, but he goes to it on back-to-back attacks there for Ball State, and IPFW was not ready for it.
Parker Schwartz back to serve, likely the best server for the Cardinals, but IPFW ends that very quickly with a sell-in attack on the left.
Well, it's amazing. He's been stifled at the net here tonight, and finally he breaks free when he's least suspecting, when he's on the back line for IPFW.
Tony Price, the outside hitter, sophomore, back to serve. Selin blocked at the net by 2 Cardinals. 23 rather to 20. The Cardinals take the 3-point lead, looking to take a 2-0 advantage in this match.
Well, Alex Pia has given them excellent energy here tonight. Definitely a hop in his step, and he's playing with some emotion too, and it's really propelled Ball State defensively.
And although the Cardinals looking to close out 2 sets early, don't expect too much yet, because the Cardinals took the first 2 sets last season as IPFW receives the point, but then IPFW here in Worthen Arena came back from 2 sets down and got the 5-set victory. Nice play by Fitzgerald to just put it back after the Scannell pass.
Yeah, that was a tough opportunity for Austin Neese after he was back on his heels after the set from Keegan went wide. IPFW able to persevere, and then Wessel with no chance. and trying to return it for Ball State.
Pia hits the back line. IPFW didn't agree, but he gives the Cardinals a set number 2 point opportunity. 3 of them, matter of fact. Back to serve is Mike Scannell for the Ball State Cardinals. 2 service aces on the season, but normally a consistent man in getting the ball over the net. Hard service into the back. Wheeler puts it too far, and IPFW survives for another point, looking to crawl their way back into set 2. What does it mean if they were to drop the first 2 sets? And really, we talked about how they did it last season, but it's a hard accomplishment to come back from, especially on the road.
Well, that would dash their confidence. You felt like if IPFW was going to come in here and win tonight, they had to at least split the first 2 sets to give them some confidence.
Sellen's attack blocked by Pia and Wheeler, and the Ball State Cardinals take set number 2, 25-22. The Cardinals will look to close out the IPFW Mastodons in Worthen Arena in set number 3. But first we will have a 10-minute break. When we come back here on ESPN3, Alexis Williams will talk to you. You're watching men's volleyball, Ball State Cardinals versus the IPFW Mastodons.
Yes, yes it is. Oh. Sorry.
Do you hear CT? Do you hear CT in your IFB? No, she does not. She can't hear anything in her IFB. Can you hear him now? I don't believe so. You can communicate with me when she's back, and I can communicate with her.
Very well. We're excited to host them at the marathon on Saturday, February 20th. If you would like to donate BSU Dance, go to bsudancemarathon.org or follow them on Twitter at BSUDM. Let's play volleyball. Great daughter skills. The tip of point. Here they come.
Welcome back to Worthen Arena. The Cardinals take the first 2 sets, 25-22 and 25-23. The Ball State Cardinals played well through the first 2 sets, and really it was in large part to Alex Pia's defense and Mitch Wheeler's offense. They had a great match so far. And in this rivalry between IPFW and Ball State coming out strong early. Ryan Perrott, his first game as a head coach in the rivalry as well.
Well, yeah, definitely some nerves for IPFW coming into this one. You know, Coach Perrott talked this one up in the locker room before the game, having tremendous respect for this Ball State program, but also instilling in these guys that this one means a little bit more to IPFW than most games do. He admitted that he circled this game on the calendar, and that goes back to his playing days, Coach Perrott's playing days at IPFW, when the rivalry was at its peak, when both of these teams were going back and forth from just down the road from each other.
The Ball State Cardinals looking to take set number 3. But first, we take a look at the day in the life of a men's volleyball player at Ball State University.
sports link.
Watch me get my perfect clean form in there. No, that was the kid that went. So what, are you working out the whole time with that?
Yeah, I'll work on that. Until they come pick it up. Yeah.
We have to drop it off.
On 3, 1, 2, 3.
A nice piece produced by Ball State SportsLink. The Cardinals up 2-0 over the IPFW Mastodons. They've done it in large part to a hitting percentage of .266. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will take a look at the first two sets of highlights between the IPFW Mastodons and the Ball State Cardinals next on ESPN3.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Ball State volleyball at the end of the game is Courtney Burrell. Congratulations, Courtney. Please see a marking representative at the bottom of aisle 8.
I'll let you take through highlights if you want to do that. Okay.
We're starting with highlights.
Welcome back to Worthen Arena. The Ball State Cardinals take the first two sets over the IPFW Mastodons. Taking a look at the first two sets, the statistics so far pretty even when you look at it from this perspective. The blocks for the Ball State Cardinals, always a strong area, but also IPFW has had some unforced errors, which Ryan Perrott talked about they need to limit.
Yeah, the defense has really told the story for both teams. Ball State at the net, specifically with Alex Pia for Ball State. He's been very active in blocking attacks for IPFW, and then IPFW the other way. They haven't had as much production from Luis Bertrand on the back line as they would have liked. Ball State's really been attacking him, and that's led to the 2-0 advantage for the Cardinals.
Taking a look at the first two set highlights, Mike Scannell for the Ball State Cardinals. He was big. He had a total of 6 kills on 13 attacks. IPFW stayed resilient all through the first two sets. That's why it was only 25-23 and 25-22. A big name to watch out for in set number 3 for IPFW. If they need to come back, is that man, number 12, Andrew Sellen.
Yeah, that's really been the story for them all year, is that they can't really finish sets. It's not like they're getting blown out. It's just the fact that they can't finish sets. They're still learning how to win.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will have set number 3 action for you in Worthen Arena. Men's volleyball between the Ball State Cardinals and the IPFW Mastodons. Sorry. I
couldn't even hear you guys. I couldn't hear anything.
Something happened with the audio. I don't know what it was.
Sorry, I had to throw you guys back in.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Actually, let's push it that way a little bit. Cool. Thanks.
The Ball State Cardinals looking to make a 5-match winning streak after winning 4 coming into tonight. Those 4 matches were on the road, and they are also looking for a sweep in 3 sets here tonight. The first 2 times this season out of the 10 matches that they won set number 1, they went on to sweep their opponent. And it's looking like that at this point, but we know in this type of rivalry, IPFW is not going to give in as Nimchevsky gets the first kill in set number 3. Nimchevsky, someone that didn't play an awful lot, only 1 kill, 3 errors, and that's why Joel Walton took him out. And Joel Walton's not afraid to do that, even with such a caliber player as Nimchevsky.
Right, it's because they have so much depth. They had 12 guys play against Ohio State, likely to go 12 deep here tonight as well. And there are plenty of guys behind Nimchevsky and Serene that can come in and make an impact offensively for Ball State. That's what we've seen in both of the past 2 matches for the Cardinals.
Twice unforced error for IPFW, and that's been the story of the night. Something that Ryan Perrott, the head coach, the first-year head coach, talked about. They need to limit the unforced errors, and that's something they haven't done. And as a result, Ball State has the 3-0 lead in set number 3 with Scannell up through the middle.
Well, this is a nightmare start for IPFW, losing the first 3 points, and they also go back to their Achilles heel with an unforced error amongst those 3 points. If they want to come back in this match, you felt like they really needed to start this 3rd set with at least a little bit of an advantage to take the pressure off.
With the Wheeler service error, you hear a little bit of noise from the IPFW bench trying to push their players out on the court to get back in. Ryan Perrott seated still on the sideline per usual. Schwartz comes up through the middle. We haven't seen much of that tonight, mostly used as a server, but a nice attack to the left.
I was about to say, how about the well-rounded game of Parker Schwartz? We haven't seen him much on the front line this year for Ball State, mostly in the back line where we see him right now.
How about a 1,000 hitting percentage to go with it, 2 for 2 on the night. A quick hit over from Keegan, the first time we've seen that form tonight. 4-2 lead for Ball State as Keegan trots back after the kill to serve.
Well, a guy that Coach Perrott identified as probably his best player a few years down the road we haven't seen tonight. That's Alex Dickman, but Michael Keegan as a freshman is one of these guys for IPFW that once this process starts to evolve for Coach Perrott, he'll be a mainstay at that center position for IPFW.
An attack on the left side. Garchette tries to kick it on the left.
Looked like he's playing hacky sack there.
He'll do that for the Ball State Cardinals out of Brazil. some good soccer players come out of Brazil, and
Well,
Garchette
just a
obviously
few.
growing up.
He looked like he was trying to be Neymar there.
There was
The
one
Brazilian soccer sensation.
Yeah, 1 point last year against Princeton, I believe, that Garchette kicked the ball to keep Ball State alive. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Princeton had a match point, and he kicked the ball to keep it alive, and Ball State went on to win that match. And so he shows what he can do as IPFW with the service error.
Yeah, Garchette has the best hands on the team for Ball State and supposedly the best feet as well.
Exactly.
We saw them before the match here today. They were keeping it loose before during warm-ups, and it was a combination of volleyball and soccer at the net for Ball State.
They played the typical one bounce game in pre-warm-ups. Scannell on the left. This time he goes cross-court for the kill.
Tremendous follow through that time and tracking that ball for Mike Scannell as it goes a little bit wide. A nice set by Wessel as he sets it up right at the net for Scannell. And then the follow through and the powerful finish as he sends it cross court and finds an open area.
Scannell suffered an injury earlier this season, but now has come back and playing well as of late. 13 kills in their last match against Ohio State. And also a good start to tonight as Nimchevsky sends it into the two blockers for IPFW. A 4-point early lead in set number 3.
Well, Nimchevsky as a freshman, he was an understudy to middle attackers Matt Lesky and Kevin Owens, both all MVBvs selections on the first team. And he really benefited from that. And obviously his career since then now as a senior, he's really skyrocketed here in the lineup for Ball State.
Keegan the back set. Another one, but this time his right shoulder hits the net. And it's a violation on IPFW to give the Cardinals a 5-point lead. As you see on our GoPro cam, love that angle in men's volleyball especially to see the net. And clearly Keegan ran in. Price has to adjust on the right. Sellen sends one wide right. IPFW trying to go to their go-to guy, but continue to just have unforced errors, and as a result, the Cardinals lead by 6.
Well, that play was all Marty Nimchevsky. He comes up with a very athletic dig. He just flicks it over the net with his forearm. Then he comes up with a block, and then he forces the attack to go wide by being right in the face of Sellen at the net.
You saw the numbers from Garchette. The assist is always nice as Sellen another unforced error into the antenna, but one thing that Garchette has really worked on in the offseason is being a lot wiser with his hits because he has a much higher attacking percentage this season. A timeout by Ryan Perrott. 10-3, the Ball State Cardinals have an early 7-point lead in set number 3. They're looking to close out the IPFW Mastodons early tonight in a 3-set sweep. We'll have more set number 3 action for you when we come back on ESPN 3.
Good work, Holmes.
Oh. Yeah.
Or in AJ. Oh, we're kicking ass right now. She's just like Colleen. She's like a mini Colleen. She was at a super party and she came up and she had a purse and her purse was full of candy and a $20 bill. That's it. Candy and a $20 bill. Yeah, and she goes to Colleen goes home back to her purse.
Back in Worthen Arena in set number 3, a 7-point lead for the Cardinals, and we'll send it to our sideline reporter Alexis Williams.
IPFW just entered the 1,000 Match Club February 6th at McHenry. Ball State and IPFW are actually just 2 of the 12 programs to have competed in over 1,000 matches. UCLA is in first with 1,628 matches.
Well, that just adds to the lore of this rivalry for both Ball State and IPFW. The history, obviously, between these two teams, but overall, as part of the national picture, part of the national landscape, as perennial contenders in men's college volleyball.
IPFW, 1,001 matchup tonight. And they did not win their 1,000th matchup versus McKendree, but Selland trying to crawl IPFW back into set number 3 for them to possibly win their first match in the 4-digit club.
Well, they've got the right guy at the line, statistically speaking. Andrew Selland, he struggled here tonight, but rather Price at the stripe for IPFW, but he's been kind of the guy under the radar tonight for the Mastodons.
A double hit from Garchette as he had to adjust in the back row. IPFW gains another point. And a timeout by Ryan Perrott. They come out and respond with 2 straight. Tony Price once again back to serve, the 6'4" outside hitter. A joust in Garchette, they're going to say, either hit the net or went too far over onto IPFW territory. Nonetheless, a point for IPFW as they cut the lead to 5. 3 straight points for the Mastodons as they are looking to come back from a 2-set down deficit like they did last season in Worthen Arena. Nimchevsky tips it up over, and they will say that this one was left of the antenna. It looked like he lobbed it over the antenna on the left side, but the line judge and the head judge had to communicate, and they figured it out to give IPFW the point, even though Joe Walton not happy.
Yeah, that call came in a little bit late.
IPFW had almost gotten another attack off. It would have been Selland on the right side.
The head referee just took a moment to recognize that the flag was up on the near side official.
5 straight points for IPFW after a Coach Perrott timeout, and that sparks a Coach Walton timeout for the Ball State Cardinals.
Yeah,
11-8 lead for the Ball State Cardinals. They lead by 3, and earlier today, Alexis Williams, our sideline reporter, had a chance to talk to the IPFW head coach, Ryan Perrott.
I'm here with IPFW head coach Ryan Perrott. Coach, you're following in the footsteps of coaching legend Arnie Ball. What has that transition been like for you this season?
Well, it's been pretty seamless, I think. Coach and I still keep in touch with one another, and he still gives me some wonderful advice about coaching. But it's been a seamless transition. I haven't reinvented the wheel. I've just tried to maintain a nice edge with the guys and try to keep things loose so they can get the best out of themselves.
Can you tell that Ryan Perrott played volleyball at IPFW with the height advantage over our sideline reporter?
Oh, no, definitely towering over Alexis Williams, but he was quite an athlete back in the day, not just volleyball, but we talked to him before the match, and he grew up in Ontario, just north of Detroit, and he played pretty much everything except football.
Yeah, it seemed like he listed off about 6 different sports that he played.
we were sitting there for about 30 seconds waiting for that list to end.
Ball State with the 3-point lead in set number 3, but IPFW rattling off 5 straight points. A free ball sent back over to the Cardinals. And Nimchevsky's attack blocked by Fitzgerald and Selland at the net for IPFW, and they continue to rattle off points to get back into this match.
Well, talked about how the defense for IPFW was lacking in the first 2 sets. Not the case here as they send Fitzgerald and Selland to the net, and they're in on the block.
Tony Price continues to serve. Wessel, nice pickup in the back row. This time, Nimchevsky hits the left hand of Selland and eventually cuts this streak that IPFW was on.
Well, a beautiful pass from Wessel that time. He had his struggles in the first 2 sets. We heard that Coach Walton, when he was mic'd up, said that he's got 1 more or 2 more points to get this figured out. He has, and that's why he's been on the court here in the 3rd set.
The freshman libero, All-American though as a high schooler, as the attack sails long for IPFW, and now Ball State comes back with 2 points in a row of their own with Mike Scannell at the head back serving.
Well, they've been able to manage the rally of IPFW after they ripped off 6 straight points. Now this is danger area for the Mastodons. They can't let this one get too far away from them, trailing 2-0.
Fitzgerald's attack in the middle. Scannell couldn't reach after the Wessel pass. And Fitzgerald goes right back to serve as well for the Mastodons. Fans for IPFW wanted a carry on Wessel there, but Ball State will receive the point on Martin Nimchevsky's attack on the right.
Nimchevsky's been excellent here in the 3rd set. That's now his 3rd kill and 4 attacks.
An easy drive for some IPFW fans, and we heard them say something after Adam Wessel received that serve in the back row. But nonetheless, the Ball State Cardinals get the point. Only an 81-mile drive between these two schools, which is why it's such a rivalry, and IPFW continues to come back in set number 3 after trailing 11-3. That time, Garchette opted not to hit it, thinking it was traveling out of bounds.
First time we've heard from Colton Stone here tonight for IPFW.
Sellen's serve sails right, and that's an area that Sellen has struggled with tonight, in an area that if IPFW needs to crawl back into this one, you would like to see him rattle off some service aces instead of errors, especially with the IPFW Mastodons down 4.
Yeah, I'm as perplexed as he is. I can't believe that we've seen 3 errors from their best server here tonight. It's telling in the score column.
Nimchevsky upset with himself after serving into the net. Unforced errors by both teams sparks Colton Stone back to the stripe, the redshirt freshman out of Richmond, Virginia. Change of pace from Wheeler sparks the point as Tony Price dove out but hit it out of bounds.
Well, so much variety in the repertoire of Mitch Wheeler tonight. We've seen the power, we've seen him locate attacks perfectly in the IPFW defense, and now we see him go with the finesse as he lofts it over the blockers.
Keegan had to adjust for the set. Wessel, nice dig for the Cardinals. Walsh back in the game for the Cardinals, but can't get the attack. This time Scannell hits it into the hands of the IPFW blockers. 5-point lead right back for the Cardinals, looking to close the IPFW Mastodons and send them home early tonight, back 81 miles away to Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne University. Attack on the left side again by Colton Stone.
Yeah, Colton Stone here in this 3rd set has come out of nowhere. He did not play in their last match against McKendree, and he's really struggled at the net this year. He has a negative attacking percentage, only 17 kills, used mostly as a server. But here over the past couple points, he's made his presence felt.
He did not play in the last match versus McKendree, but before that, he had played in the previous 5 and had double-digit attacks in 4 of those matches. Quinones back to serve for IPFW. And his serve well in bounds, but Wessel thought it was traveling out for Ball State.
He's played sparingly here tonight. That's his 4th ace on the season, but he's coming off a match in which he was the best passer for this IPFW team at 21 assists, and that was a year high by a wide margin, 20 more than he had in any other game.
And interesting because he's listed as a setter, but he's a junior on this team, and I was looking back at his career stats, and he had never played center for them until just that last match at McKendree where he had 21 assists.
Well, IPFW lost their setter to graduation after last year. They really lost a huge chunk of their lineup. They lost their setter, both middle blockers. It's a young and inexperienced team, so they've had to move some pieces around. Not trying to reinvent the wheel is Ryan Perrott, but he's just really dealing with the pieces that he has on this roster right now.
And the new head coach, Ryan Perrott, stepping in, as you said, an inexperienced club in IPFW, but led by Andrew Sellen, the senior, mixing in some freshmen. Tony Price on the right side. Great attack by Price, blocked at the net, but it travels down the line and drops down.
Well, if IPFW doesn't win this match, it has nothing to do with the effort of Tony Price tonight. Because of all the attention on Andrew Sellen, a lot of times he's seen single blockers at the net, and he's done a lot of damage against this Ball State defense.
That one is Alex Pia through the middle. We've seen him sparingly attack the ball tonight, but when he's gotten an opportunity, that time a big right-handed swing.
Yeah, Alex Pia remains hot in January. He was probably the best player on this Cardinal team in 3 matches. He had 5+ blocks, led the team with a .426 attacking percentage. So he's picking up right where he left off in the month of January.
4-point lead for the Cardinals. Late in set number 3, as Nimchevsky's error trying to send it into the hands of Sellen, likely to push it out of bounds, but it just went too high.
He caught that ball with the swing when he was on the downward trajectory of his jump, and that led to a sailing angle on the attack.
Tony Price back to serve. Someone that IPFW definitely likes back there. 7 aces on the season, but this one just a little too far. It was a close call towards the back line. Another 4-point lead for Ball State, looking to rattle off 5 points with Mike Scannell back serving. Wheeler's attack sails long. 3 blockers were at the net for IPFW, and he tried to put it over all 3. Checking in to serve for IPFW is Max Hansen. Only 2 players on this IPFW Mastodons roster from Indiana, and both are from Fort Wayne, where the university resides. This time, Ball State gets the point from Mitch Wheeler's attack on the left side.
It's really unbelievable. You mentioned that there are only 2 on IPFW from Indiana, 1 for Ball State and Jack LeSure from Indiana. Both of these teams have such a proud tradition collegiately, yet the state of Indiana, as far as producing high school players, it's really irrelevant as far as producing players are concerned, because most of the players for Ball State come from the Chicagoland area and elsewhere throughout the Midwest.
Scannell up through the back row, also a native from the Chicagoland area, Orland Park, Illinois. He gives the Cardinals a 5-point advantage in set number 3, a timeout prompted by Ryan Perrott. 22-17, the Cardinals have a 5-point lead. And as we've done before, Joel Walton is wired in this contest, and let's see what he has to say as the Cardinals looking to close out this match.
Marty's found Bertrand with every single one of his serves tonight, but at least he's putting it in. Marty. So change that I'm thinking about is Eddie for Wessel, but you know, it's like Wessel doesn't make a play, then he does. Then he doesn't, then he does. It's less. I like Walsh's idea, it's just horrible timing. Marty's hands are like his feet. Extra water. Now, that's extra water, they're extra saucy. Swampy. Swampy is that's the term. Hey, Price is gonna hit that shot. Make sure you and Mitch are talking on it. Nice play, good idea. Yeah, go.
Extra saucy hands for Martin Nimchevsky. An interesting verb, but Martin Nimchevsky's been able to get it done in set number 3.
I'm not sure what he meant by saucy, but
I'm not either.
Extra water, extra sauce.
We'll have to.
Sounds like he's at an Italian restaurant.
We'll have to talk to him afterwards, possibly, if the Cardinals get a victory here in set number 3. Parker Schwartz is back into the game for the Cardinals, but Garchette goes to the right side to Nimchevsky, who goes down the line, and the Cardinals with a 6-point lead.
Look at Nimchevsky get up here. A beautiful set backwards from Garchette. And Nimchevsky's just waiting there, chomping at the bit to send it past Colton Stone.
Tony Price was in position in the back row. This time Sellen goes hard to the setter, Garchette. And not the best dig in the back row. Sellen trying to propel the Mastodons back in set 3.
He got caught in rotation, did Garchette, and he didn't have his feet squared underneath him. And that led to the spiraling dig attempt. And out of bounds and a point for IPFW.
Sellen, maybe the worst time of the night for one of his 4 service errors. 24-18. The Cardinals have 6 match points, and the Cardinal faithful stand on their feet as the players on the bench start rowing for Nimchevsky. Colton Stone is blocked at the net by Garchette and Parker Schwartz, and that will end it here in Worthen Arena. 25-18, the Ball State Cardinals take set number 3 and get themselves a Worthen Arena sweep tonight in 3 sets, and have controlled it the whole time and take back the Interstate 69 rivalry after IPFW won twice last season.
Well, that last play we just saw is really a summation of Ball State's defense over the past 2 matches after dominating the net against Ohio State. We saw the same here tonight for Ball State and dominating IPFW defensively. Just too many unforced errors from IPFW tonight, and it wasn't enough as their young team came in here to Worthen Arena and learned a valuable lesson against a much more experienced Ball State team.
The Ball State Cardinals now have won 5 straight matches. We will take a quick break. When we come back, we will have interviews here from Worthen Arena with our very own Alexis Williams. Post-game show next on ESPN3.
Do you want me to start talking? Yeah. I am talking. We're here with men's volleyball head coach Joel Dalton. Coach, yes, Mark cannot take giving away any more sets. How's your heart doing now?
Until she's ready.
You swept IPFW. What did your team show you tonight?
Back in Worthen Arena, where the Ball State Cardinals receive the Interstate 69 rivalry sweep over the IPFW Mastodons. As we mentioned, IPFW won this matchup twice last season in the 2 matches that they played. Ball State had won the match twice the year before, but it's nice to see the Cardinals get the win, especially at home in Worthen Arena, and prevent the IPFW Mastodons from coming back in this game. They came back last season in Worthen Arena from 2 sets down, but this time Ball State really closed out strong in set number 3.
Yeah, and it was very important for Ball State to come in here tonight and make quick work of IPFW to save their legs a little bit after 4 straight matches in which they went 5 sets, because they've got a huge stretch coming up. They get Barton on the 12th, but then after that, they're right into the thick of their MVBA schedule with number 5 Loyola and number 14 Lewis coming in here at really the peak of this 6-game homestand. But nice to start the homestand 1-0 here and improve to 3-0 in the MVBA.
And the Ball State Cardinals did it defensively as well. 9.5 blocks on the night as a team. IPFW was the better serving team technically, but not in the errors department, as the Ball State Cardinals only had 6 service errors to IPFW's 10 service errors, and most of those errors came from Andrew Sellen, especially a big one late in set number 3. We'll send it to our Alexis Williams with Coach Joel Walton after the big win for the Cardinals.
Coach, yesterday you told me your heart cannot take giving away any more sets. How is your heart doing right now?
You know, we won in 3 straight, but we gave away leads tonight. So there were still moments where our team was playing really well, and we just struggled, and IPFW was able to put together some 3- and 4-point runs against us. So consistency is still something that we've got to continue to work on. But I'm pleased overall with the effort that the guys had tonight.
Is there anything specific that your team really showed you out on the court?
Yeah, we continue to see with this team an ability to fight, and early in the match, IPFW was winning some of the long rallies. We turned that around late, and we started to win the longer rallies. So I like seeing that. I like seeing our guys control the tempo. You know, we got contributions from different guys at different points. It was a good team effort tonight.
You're still undefeated. What does that mean to you?
Well, we're undefeated in the MVBA, and undefeated in league play is great, and it's for sure where we want to be. Every one of these matches that we're going to play within the league these next 3 weeks are extremely important, because it's going to parlay into seeding later in the season. And within our league, the way that we've got our tournament format set up, the higher seed you are, the more rounds you'll host in the conference tournament. So that's why it becomes very important that we take care of business now. And the last 2 weekends of the regular season, we're going to have to finish on the road, and those are going to be some very hard-fought matches against teams that are also jockeying for position in the conference tournament.
Thank you so much, Coach, and congratulations tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Alexis, and some nice comments from Joel Walton there as his team improves to 3-0 in MVBA play. And against quality teams, too. McKendree, who IPFW lost to as well, and then Ohio State, a top 10 team in the nation. That was really the biggest win for the Ball State Cardinals, but it's always nice, especially coming back from a 6-match road stand and then coming back home and getting their first win back here in Worthen Arena in MVBA play.
Yeah, and you notice that Coach Walton doesn't have tunnel vision. He understands the grand scheme of things. You're playing for seeding in the MVBA tournament, and that's imperative because of how good Ball State is here at home. They're now 4-1 inside Worthen Arena in the season, and to be able to host a MVBA tournament game gives you that much more of a chance to move on in the MVBA tournament, especially when you have teams like Loyola and Lewis breathing down your back.
Ball State Sports Link, an organization that you've seen a couple videos from tonight, especially. Good thanks to the Ball State Sports Link staff on the crew for this ESPN broadcast, the only digital sports production major in the country. Great things going on at Ball State University as Mike Scannell is making his way over to Alexis Williams, our sideline reporter, and we'll have him as well as Joel Walton talking about the 3-set victory tonight in Worthen Arena.
You swept IPFW tonight. How important was this win?
You know, from the history of the the Ball State. Sorry, I'm thinking of Ohio State. The Ball State IPFW matchup. History-wise, it's always been there as one of the big matches of our season, and it's just really fun to be a part of it. Really go out there and do well. Our bench was involved. I think everyone was involved. Energy was there, so it was a really overall good match. So I'm really happy with it.
You're starting conference play 3-0. How important is that?
It's important, but towards the end of the season, that doesn't really matter. It comes down to every game, as long as we're satisfied with our play and our energy is there, win or lose, it comes down to the end of the season, and records don't mean too much in the MVBA, so it just really comes down to our energy and everything else towards the end of the season. So you can put the record aside towards the end.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you, Mike Scannell, and thank you, Alexis Williams. The Ball State Cardinals win tonight in 3 sets. Mike Scannell was the leading killer for the Cardinals as well with 10 on 20 attacks. Tonight's Ball State Sports Link production of NCAA volleyball was directed by Zach McClusack. Big thanks to him. For Connor Onion and Alexis Williams, I'm Corey Stace saying so long from Muncie, where the Ball State Cardinals win in 3 sets over the IPFW Mastodons. To watch this entire match on replay, as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN.